The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Big Sky, Montana, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31706. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Here are just a few images of your new apparatus, and then we'll get started with some of the details of your apparatus next. All right, let's get started on the orientation. First, let's start down at the front bumper. You'll find two emergency forward-facing and side-facing lights. Moving forward of that, you'll find air horns located underneath the bumper of the apparatus. Moving up to the top on the front bumper, you'll find your headlight cluster. The outer beam is the low beam and the inner beam is the high. Moving up from that point, you'll find your turn indicator on the left and right. And then inside normally where the headlights would be, you'll find your emergency warning lights. Let's take a look at the tubbed storage area. You do have a notched storage area for hose and also a drop-down front bumper. Underneath, difficult to see, this is your winch attachment or front-facing attachment point. There is also 12-volt access on the left-hand side. This is a 10,000-pound maximum allowable tow rating. Up in the front, you'll find a front discharge. This is foam and water capable. And across your seamless front windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers. As we look at the very top of the apparatus, the brow, you'll find 5 running lights. And just above that, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. And then all the way up at the very top, a full-width light bar. A couple more close-ups of those images. Located under the Pierce logo is the latch to release the hood. Once you've released the hood, you'll gain access on the passenger side to the windshield wiper fluid replacement. And then on the driver's side, you'll find the instructions for the cab raise and lower cab. The red quarter turn is going to be the selector between raise and lower, and the yellow with the black push button is a remote that is wired to the vehicle for raising and lowering. On the right, you'll find your power steering fluid. This is Dextron 3. Moving over to the driver's side, you'll find your Shoreline inlet. These are both auto eject plugs. This is a 20 amp powered auto eject. Next to it is the air eject. Moving up onto the side of the body, you'll find your warning lights or tank indicator lights for the amount of water within your tank. Moving over to the side, you will find a warning label here regarding possible hose entanglement. Your pre-connects come off of the sides, and so that's the purpose of that warning label. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner with the number 1 driver's side 2.5-inch discharge. Just beneath that, you'll find the number 3 discharge 2.5-inch, and you'll also find a warning label here regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards with those pressurized caps while removing them. On the right side, you're going to find an additional warning label regarding riding on the apparatus, which is not recommended. Located in the center with the Pierce logo, American flag eagle, this is going to be your large diameter intake. Moving to the right, you'll find your foam warning label regarding not to mix the types of foams. And then you'll find just underneath that a lever for draft, foam, and tank. And just beneath that, you'll find the attachment point with a cap located on it. Just beneath that, you're going to find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. And just beneath that, you'll find associated drains that are color-coded and labeled. Here's a couple close-ups. Once again, the foam failure hazard and also your driver's side auxiliary inlet. And then at the very base, the drains. You will find that on the driver's side, you'll find the odd number. And on the passenger side, you'll find an even number for those discharges. Let's take a look at the pump panel. Starting at the very top, you'll find this indicator light. If illuminated, your pump is properly engaged. Starting on the left-hand side, you can see that you have color-coded gauges here. These are all ultimate flow.
you can see from FRC, and you can also see that on the right side, this is your vacuum and pressure test ports. Located in the center is an automatic panel gauge heater. It will indicate that the sensor will operate when it reaches the cold setting. Moving to the right, you'll find your pump intake, and then further to the right, your pump discharge. Just beneath that, you'll find the PCM fault indicator, which is an amber light, and it also has an audible sound to the very far right that is adjustable. Let's move a little bit further down. First, we'll talk about the front discharge. These are all water and foam capable. The number 1 crosslay and number 2 crosslay. Located in the center in this teal color would be the foam A indicator, and to the right you'll find your Husky foam system control module. Moving to the right, you'll find your passenger rear discharge, once again foam and water capable, and to the very far right, your Pierce throttle governor. Also has a tank indicator on it. The Husky foam system has a on-off switch at the very top. The next digital readout is your foam percentage, and then increase or decrease, and you can see hold for increments or decrease for 3 seconds. To the right, you'll find the check engine light at the very top, digital readout for your RPMs, stop engine, and then below that you'll find all of your engine information. In the blue section, that's your water. You can see empty, quarter, half, 3/4, or full. There is also a silence button and a menu button. As we move further down on the panel itself, you'll find either pressure control mode or RPM mode. Those are controlled through the control mode. There is also an indicator that your throttle is ready. As we look to the primer, this is your air intake. This is the primer indicating that you need at least 1,000 RPMs before priming. And you also have a rear inlet. This is an indicator for open or closed. To the left, moving to the right, you're going to find your tank fill recirculating line, your tank to pump, and then your 2.5-inch crosslay. You can see it's also labeled and color-coded with the actual gauge. Moving further to the right, we're going to find your fire pump primer. There is some instructions just beneath that for best RPMs at least 1,000. Moving to the right, you'll find the passenger side 2.5 and also the deluge discharge. You can also see that those valves will lock by twisting. Moving in the center area, you're going to find the number 2 passenger side discharge. This is an Acron electronic valve. Moving further down, you'll find your green large diameter passenger side discharge. There is a warning label here regarding that only trained personnel should operate this equipment and that you should seek the owner's manual for advanced training and equipment. There is a primer drain. It is a twist, not a pull. And as we look to the right, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule. This is for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi. Looking on the left is your GPMs, and on the right is your RPMs. Also has a job number at the very top. As we look inside this compartment, just on the pump panel, you'll find your manual pump shift. It is a protected switch with an amber indicator. And also on the very top, you'll find the yellow handle, which is going to be your foam system. Moving to the left, you'll find a pump engaged also indicator, driver side flood, passenger side flood, and your pump compartment heater. Also mounted on the side, you'll find your L-card brass. This is for your EXM monitor. This is the control pad for that, in addition with it on the opposite side. On the top of your apparatus, you have a Wilbert light mast. This is the control module for that. There is a reset button in the top, which is red, and then the controls just below. The light tower reaches a total of 16 feet 11 inches. That is on level surface. Moving inside the compartment is where you're going to find your battery conditioner. This will operate when shore power is plugged in. To the far right, you'll find 4 plugs here. These are also operational when shore power is plugged in. This is a 20 amp outlet. We'll move through some other images here. You can see that you have a toolbox located in the first compartment. Just above that toolbox, or right next to the toolbox, I should say, you'll find your blue DEF. This is a 4.5 US gallon tank. Moving just up from that location, you'll find bottle storage locations. And then as we move to the next compartment up, you will find the latch on the right side, although on the left side, when the tool board is in the open position, there is a small pin that needs to be released to allow it to retract and lock into position. Also, you'll find additional bottle storage to the rear of the apparatus in this location, and then you'll find the silver cap, which is your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rear of the apparatus on the side. First, you'll find a 9,000 pound maximum allowable winch rating. There is also a 12 volt access style pin on the far right with the red cap. Just underneath that, you'll find the rear air bleed. Let's take a close-up look here. Rear inlet air bleed. This is for your rear intake at the rear of the apparatus to bleed. This is also your turret drain. And as we look further on the back of the apparatus, we'll find a few more warning stickers here regarding pressurized caps and associated hazards while they're under pressure while opening them. You'll also find, due to the elevated hose, entanglement hazards. And you're going to also find riding on the apparatus is not recommended. That's what these placards are for. Please yield the advice of those. On the left-hand side and the right, you'll find your brake, turn, and reverse lights. Moving up onto the left-hand side of this image, you're going to find these cup style light switches. Those are momentary on-off switches. Moving to the left was your large diameter intake, and to the right you have a 2.5 inch discharge. Located in the center is your backup camera. Just up from that location is your traffic advisor. And as we look to the right on the ladder, this will drop down and pull outward. Be cautious, this is a potential pinch hazard. As we cycle through some of these close-ups here, you can see this rear scene lights and also right next to it the hose bed lights. You'll also find your 24-foot extension ladder, and just to the right a 14-foot roof ladder. Just above that you'll find two pike poles, a 6 and a 10-foot, and then above that you'll find a 10-foot attic or folding ladder. You also have hose potential storage up on the top deck. Moving all the way over to the far right, you'll find once again that rear discharge, camera, and traffic advisor. As you can see, this is the rear compartment of your apparatus. By the chevrons, you can see this shelf is a pull out. There's a lever on the right hand side in gray, and the lower shelf also pulls out, which has a black lever. We're up onto the top of the apparatus now, looking at the hose bed. You can see a 2.5 inch discharge rear facing, and you can also see your light mast. Also located near the light mast is going to be your deluge. We're now up on the very top looking at the side compartments. There are two of those compartments. Inside the compartments you can see their LED lights. As we go in front to the dunnage area, you'll find your water fill location. This is direct fill to your tank. Moving to the right, you'll find your foam tank fill, Class A foam. There's also that warning label here regarding batch mixing of different types of product. Here's looking down inside the tank itself. There is a filter strainer. This is the water tank. Looking down inside, there is a strainer and a handle on the left-hand side. Moving up to the very top, you're going to find your control module here. This is your hydraulic form reservoir. The black cap removes. Check for the sight gauge. And then that's also the fill location. Sight gauge is just on the right where the cutout is, and you can see inside that area. Up onto the cab itself, you'll find two warning labels regarding not to stand or step in this area. One, it's slippery and should not be stepped in. Once again, moving to the other side, you'll find considerable storage space with LED lighting and dry deck material inside. There's the Big Sky Fire Department logo, 1971. As we look on the passenger side, you'll find at the very top a pull-out drop-down shelf that requires two-hand operation with the mechanism of the two black latches. Also on this side, same thing as the driver's side, you have that winch 9,000 pound maximal rated capacity. You also have SCBA bottle holders just as you did on the opposite side in the wheel well locations. Moving to the center compartment, this is a pull-out shelf. You can see the wire in between. You don't have to actually operate the two black knobs. Because these are electric valves, they do require an override. This is the override for the number 2 and the large diameter. And then these are the drains at the very base of that panel. Difficult to see, but underneath your panel is fully enclosed. As we move inside the cab, you'll see you have two rear-facing SCBA seats. In between those two seats is the access point for checking your engine oil and transmission. These would be your daily checks and easily accessible. There is also a light inside this space. As we look inside to the rear, you'll find this fold-down seat and also a large compartment with inside. Inside that compartment, you'll also find shelving and LED lighting. There is also a work light located on the left-hand side. Inside the compartment between the two fold-down seats, you will find shelving and LED lighting. In addition, there is shore power located within inside those plugs. Just on the outside of each side of the compartment, you'll find a work light, and above that, you'll find also a headset holder. In the front between the officer and the operator, you'll find two additional work lights. Directly behind the officer seat and also behind the driver's seat, you'll find additional accessory wiring. Generalized view here looking forward. On the driver's side, you'll find controls for all of the electric windows. And as we move to the dash components, let's first start with the left side ignition, start, and hazard lights. As we move to the right, you'll see this small area just off to the right-hand side of this image. This is going to be your emergency master, your headlight control and parking lights, and also the panel rocker switch, which gives you the ability to increase or decrease the lighting within that area of the panel. On the far right-hand side, you'll find, this is on the other side of the column, the high idle on off, and also the OK to engage high idle. The dash cluster houses the transmission, oil, DEF, and water level, RPMs, and speedometer. It also has volts, fuel, front and rear air, and then between the two, speedometer and tachometer, you'll find additional display information. Down on the left side, you're going to find your master battery switch on and off, and just beneath that, about left knee height, you'll find the tech module, engine transmission, and ABS diagnostic port, the display port, ABS diagnostic, engine diagnostic, your regen inhibit, and DPF regen. Located on about the right ankle area of the operator, you'll find this Pierce manufacturer label. This has the gross vehicle weight rating. It also has front and rear axle weight ratings. It has tire pressures and also your VIN and all of your fluid capacities. As we move to the center console, first let's start on the far left-hand side, general view here. On the far left, you'll find your pull to apply the system parking brake or push to release. To the right of that, you'll find your MUX system. This is the Pierce display, which has a tremendous amount of information as you can toggle through. Next to it, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. And as we move further to the right, you're going to see a set of switches. First, four-wheel lock, load manager, and your tire chains. There are also some future switch locations, including your engine brake on-off, low, medium, and high for the engine brake, and the mirror heat. You'll find mirror controls for the left and right. You're also going to have your stationary OK to pump and roll, your water pump, and your foam system. The stationary OK to pump and roll is an indicator. Moving just up from this location is where you'll find your siren control and also speaker control for your PA. Moving to the center, you'll find your climate control for defrost and heat, and air conditioning. Let's look overhead of the operator. First, on the far left-hand side, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height, length, and gross vehicle weight ratings. This is once again from the manufacturer without any adjustments. If you make any adjustments, please make sure you change this plaque for the new operators. Your height 10 feet 7 inches, your length 33.825 inches, and your gross vehicle weight rating 27 tons. Your fire department job number is located on the very bottom, 31706. Moving overhead just to the right of that placard, you'll find your emergency master, your roof light, front warning, side warning, rear warning, and upper rear warning. You also have 2 future locations for additional switches. Air horn, mechanical siren, siren brake, front flood, driver's side flood, passenger side flood, and the rear flood. Once those are activated, they will illuminate. Moving further to the right, you're going to find your pump pressure, which is a digital readout. You'll also find your water tank vision, which is going to be the same indicator on the side of the apparatus, and also your foam tank vision. Moving further to the right, you're going to find this black Pierce logo, and this is a light indicating if red, someone is in the seat but not belted. If they are green, they're in the seat and belted. Moving further to the right, you're going to find your traffic advisor, and then directly in the center, you'll find this puck style light, which is illuminated, means do not move the apparatus. You must have a compartment ajar. On the A pillar, you'll find the VIN number also on that yellow placard. As we move to the right, you'll find your L-card water valve. This is for your front bumper turret. You can see the controls here. As we move to the passenger side of the vehicle, it is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, SRS. This area should not be blocked, and therefore there's a warning label underneath that. Also on the upper left-hand side of this image, you'll find controls for, and I have a few close-ups of those images also, your air horn, mechanical siren, and siren brake. Moving forward of that location, rear of that location, you'll find a blank plate and also 12-volt access, which is barrel style. You also have your vehicle data recorder in this same vicinity. Looking overhead of the officer position, you'll find 2 storage locations. Moving further to the right, you'll find front flood, driver side flood, and passenger side flood. The spaces that are black and have no writing indicate future possible switch locations. Once again, traffic advisor located directly over the head. Congratulations, Big Sky, Montana, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31706. If you have any questions as to the content of this video, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.